So anyway, you know the drill. Any electronic devices, please silence those and hold your sidebar conversations to a low minimum, please. At this time, I would just like y'all to, well, let me make one more note here and welcome somebody aboard. Miss Kelly Overcash is with us this morning. If you hear us doing little sidebars up here, is to bring her up to date and sort of brief her on who is who, and she will be taking the minutes for us this very day. If you would, let's all rise. We're going to have our introduction. I would ask you please bow with me this time. Oh, Father, we recognize you as the author and finisher of our faith. Father, we recognize you as the only guidance on planet Earth. And Lord, we recognize you as for the wisdom that you can bestow upon us. And Lord, we ask for it liberally. Just help us go about making those decisions that would be well and benefiting for this county. Lord, just forgive us where we fail you. And that name is above all names. Amen. Amen. Please, let's recognize our dedication symbol. I pledge allegiance to the flag and
to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. At this time, we have one change to our agenda. Immediately under the adopt agenda, if you want to call it item 2A, that's fine. We're going to have a public safety recognition. Are there any other changes, commissioners, that you know of? Do I hear a motion then that we accept the agenda with that change?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Well, that being said, at this time, Mr. Theron, we will move on with our public safety recognition.
Yes, sir. And just about like to turn this back over to Commissioner Threadgill. He had asked for the personnel to be here, the public safety personnel to be here today, and we'll turn it over to you.
Thank you very much. I don't have anything prepared for you. I just wanted each and every one of you to be here today. On Friday the 13th in May, there was a head-on collision between Woodbury and Manchester area. And I did many, many years of critical care and emergency care as a registered nurse. I don't do that side any longer, but there are so many times that people don't get recognized, and we see a state trooper or a policeman in our rear view mirror and we automatically put on brakes and think, gosh, you can't stop me today. But I just wanted to say to each and every one of you that it was a pleasure to work side by side with you that day and to see how everybody worked together as a team. And there was a young man back here sitting on the back that he and I pulled one of the victims out of the car together. And you know, the compassion that he showed for that young lady was remarkable to me. He talked her through the entire thing as to what we would do, from putting the C-collar on, which is around the neck, to helping lift her up, put her on the stretcher, and move her. But we don't get to say it enough, and in our profession and in your profession too, people just don't say thank you enough, in my opinion. So I wanted you all to be here this morning to say thank you, each and every one of you, for what you do on a daily basis. Thank you. Thank you.
Just for people involved to stand up, and I think you need to stand up as well, because you.
Well, I think we all need to be in the
We'll
picture
stand
with
and
them,
take a
but we'd like for everybody that was involved that day and who was there to come forward, take a group picture and get this put in the paper, because each and every one of you deserve recognition.
Where do you want us, Brian? Down there?
Come on, Sheriff.
Okay, Sharon. We need to stand here.
We're not standing for this one, really.
They can be in the front.
Yeah, y'all stand at the front.
Y'all stand in the front.
Oh, no, you're welcome. Doing all right.
Guys, we're going to have to get a little bit more organized than this. For those of you that can sit on your knee in the front, can we get some of y'all on your knee in the front? Robert, are you there? Okay. Roseland, can you come to the front, please?
And I do want to say one more thing I just remembered, and I think this is the gentleman here. He's one of our deputies. Are you the one that carried the baby?
Yes.
Yeah. The entire time that I was there that day, there were 3 children involved in that wreck. And this gentleman had one of those children holding that baby the entire time that I was there helping with this wreck. So thank you very much for doing that and taking care of that child.
We'll just crop it. We got a group here, that's for sure.
Caught under the wheel.
Yeah.
I think here comes some more. Let's get them in here.
Okay.
Y'all come on up. Y'all come on around and get this picture.
That one right there is the front side.
This is the flight crew. We had to airlift 2 of those people out that day, and joining us now are the people that were there involved in it. So we want to thank each and every one of you for what you do on a daily basis too.
All right. I'm gonna try to do a couple different shots. Probably will have to do a panoramic shot, but. All right. We're gonna go on 3. 1, 2, 3. And again. 1, 2, 3. Thank you. Yeah. Better than expected.
I'm gonna put them back in order just here in a second.
Good too.
If you would, come back to work, please. We'll wait for just a second to resume. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
I don't know who's you all.
Just as an attachment.
No problem. Good job. It's not often we can say things like that, and so I appreciate the top interviews we have, and probably should do it more often. Again, just a very big thank you to everybody involved, including you, Commissioner Threadgill. Appreciate that work. At this time on our agenda, we're down to the minutes. We have work session minutes for May 24th, and we also have a regular meeting May 24th. You've had an opportunity to look at those minutes. Do I hear any motions?
So moved.
I have a motion to my left that they be accepted. Second. Let it be known by uplifted hand, please. We're all voted in accordance. At this time on our agenda is municipal comments. Mayor Glover, I have you in my sights here, so if you would.
Good morning. I realize some of the personnel that just left may have been part of the fatality fire we had at Battlefield this time last week on Wednesday. And I want to thank Brian, I know Sam was there, and the other volunteer firemen and EMS crew that came and did such a marvelous job. We were not able to come away with it the way we had hoped, but they did do all they could. And again, on Thursday, that same property
Thank you, Mayor, for those kind comments. Let's see, Mr. Doug from Manchester.
Good morning, Commissioner. Brings thanks from Manchester for all the county does for us. It's been a pleasure this 5 months working with everyone I have met.
Yes, sir.
With the county. It's been a great experience, and I always find help when I call, and I appreciate all that. Of course, what's going on in Manchester, we're getting ready for our 3rd of July fireworks celebration. We've streamlined it a little this year. We're not going to have the vendors there. We still will have the band that will start up at 7 and play through 10 o'clock. At this time, the fireworks will start at 10 o'clock. We're inviting everyone to that. It's free admission. It's held over at the Neal. Good news, the old post office has been vacant for a number of years, has been leased, and we're going to be seeing a antique furniture store there and other antiques that will be opening soon. The business license has already been issued, so I don't have a date for you, but a lot of changes have to be made to the interior and a lot of moving around, but that's going to be opening soon as well. Of course, we are still looking for a city clerk to fill that position, so we're still accepting applications, resumes for that. Be happy to answer any questions at any point.
I don't believe there is any. Thank you, Mr. Westbury. Have I overlooked any city? I believe I've covered those, right? Okay. Then we'll move on to our constitutional officers. Have we any here this morning? Well, that's an easy one. Department head comments. Let me kind of run through here. Ronnie, do you have any before the general meeting? Okay, I'm holding you kind of a little bit, you and Brian, toward the end, Jasmine. Chief Alphonse, anything from your side, sir?
No, sir, not really. I just wanted to say that we miss Chief Tucker, but we're transitioning well and settling in and making more momentum. Things are going pretty well. So nothing to report.
Well, thank you, Chief. The website needs to be updated with your name and address there. We sure need to get that done. See, I got Miss Patty there. Yes. Any comments? What about the election turnouts last time? They looked awfully light. Is that a record?
It was very light. We only had an 18% turnout.
18% turnout across the board. Your website needs to be updated too. I noticed we're still in the March elections on there. Just get that done. Miss Susan in the back.
No, I don't, but Abby Burns may have something to say.
Yes,
All
Abby.
I have to say is thank you to those who purchased onions and coffee earlier in the year, because we are going to camp at the end of the month, and I was able to give scholarships for those fundraising funds. So looking forward to a very good camp. Thank you.
Mr. Bruce, I guess you do Public Works next?
Yes, I got a couple.
Oh, yes, sir.
Got all the grass cut at the airport last few days. Got all the grass cut at Lake Merriwell and Peach and Pines this weekend. Got it ready. This time we put additional electrical outlets around the pavilion over there. We got about 30 out there now. Last year we didn't have 2. We are working on those. We're scraping the road, cleaning up pipes, trying to play catch up on some of that. One of my main motor grade operators has been in the hospital and had a stroke about the last month. But we moved another man over to Chicago. We're doing everything we can to get the road started, get him in good condition.
How many motor grader operators do we have out there?
We only have 3.
3 right now, so we have 3 active.
But we got 3 active. But
Okay.
I got 1 extra one. We can drive any of the equipment out there and I can move him over.
Sure.
I was gonna tell this road
deal. Do you have a schedule as to when you're gonna be in different areas?
I don't.
It would be nice if we could tell the people that call, just sit tight for 2 more days, you'll be there.
Well, once you tell them 2 days, you better come in 2
Oh,
days.
well, that's true too.
We got a route now. We do work the route at the east end of the county. We got another route, another 2 working from the north to the south, on the west end of the county. And then once we get both of those knocked out, both of them usually come up through the middle of it.
Okay.
So.
How's the new equipment, the Bobcat and the mini excavator, how are they working
I
out?
don't mention that real well. All that's working out real well. And I have, got 8 operators certified through Caterpillar. They came down, did the training, and all got
Good deal.
certification on that. That'll be the only one that's driving. Primarily, they won't be with 3 people driving it, but we have got some extras in case somebody's on vacation or out sick.
Okay.
That are certified. And as far as the GPSs and the low jacks on the equipment, I got some information on that. The guy should come Friday to install those. The board had asked me to look into that. And they are $30 for all 3 pieces per month. $10 per piece of equipment. So we got several prices on that, and that's the cheapest street line. So we intend to put those in Friday.
Okay. Looking at the road report, I see tires and mattresses and debris is still a big problem out there on the road.
It's a big problem. We've got close to 1,000 tires behind over words now. We've got to get out. They only send us a small cage, and I got it packed full now, and we're waiting on them to come pick them up. So we can load 3 more cages. Cages will only hold a couple months tires at a time. But it's still a big, real big problem all over the world.
Commissioners, y'all, any other questions?
I do want to make a comment. Unfortunately, dumping is getting to be even worse. I've got a call this week on Gold Mine Road, right there where Gold Mine and 54 connects. I don't know what would be a good deterrent other than the fact that when someone's caught, that they are prosecuted to the max that the county has. But even how feasible it is to have signs of illegal dumping, because I'm noticing that most of it is on the outline of the county. So where people coming in from surrounding Coweta, whatever, right on the outskirts of the county, but the items that was located on Gold Mine Road, unfortunately, the names and the things that the resident was able to find was not from an outsider person. It did have a Meriwether County information on it. So once again, I guess the biggest thing is to educate our constituents that this is a very costly item for the county. It takes away manpower. It's very costly to us when people are illegally dumping. So once again, it's definitely something. Keep Meriwether Beautiful is doing a great job, but we're still missing it somewhere.
That's right. We picked up trash 4 times this week, and we got names out of all 4 of the trashes. I turned them over to Mr. Ron Garrett and Wayne, and it's up to me, they will be prosecuted for it. And we are carrying them to court, and 2 of them had to go to court not long ago, but we got time, plus money.
We saw that.
So if we keep doing that, it'll eventually slack off. Or either they'll stop putting leaving things in the trash and one. We have been lucky the last 4 times, we got names for all of them. John Schreiner, got to put them on that.
Oh, John Sherman.
We also found things in it.
Cousins Road is another one that has brought to our attention last night up in London that's heavily hit also.
Where was that?
Cousins
Okay.
Road off of Forest that connects our building, 100.
I see the
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So, but I would suggest also that the route that the county's working as far as grading
Great.
and pulling ditches or whatever, if we've got something that we can put on, we've got the website, put it out there that might help, defer some of the costs if they know that they're coming in a reasonable period of time.
And we can do that, and we can try to estimate that, because we know the route we're going, we can usually estimate it out a week, 2 weeks ahead of time, unless I get some calls, emergency calls, and have to move it. And that usually just detains us a day or 2, we'll get through whatever the problem is, and they come right back, start with it at home. So I can put a short range route up a couple of weeks ahead.
A general area of the county would be good.
That's right.
Thank you, Mr. O'Neill.
Yes.
Mr. Joey, tax assessing, do we have any reports there?
Getting that busy time of the year,
Yes, everybody knows the assessment notices came out in the mail. We got a 45-day window to call, ask questions, file appeals, and desire. So far, the turnout's been about where it normally is on a year-to-year basis. So we're keeping pretty busy, but it's status quo.
Okay, thank you, Joey. I'm gonna, Miss Jane, let you speak next.
Just one quick thing, continuing on the conversation of the letter. We do have cameras randomly placed around the county, and we did make 2 cases against someone.
Good.
We pick up information at 2 locations. That's being processed.
I'm gonna hold you two department heads to the end. Miss Carolyn,
Yes, I do.
you got something just peachy to tell us?
Yes, I'd like to give you a few announcements and updates if I might.
Certainly.
First, as you know, the Peaches in the Pines, as Bruce has already mentioned, is coming up on Saturday, and I hope everyone will come out and join us. This is our county festival. This is our 2nd year. We have doubled the number of vendors. We have increased our advertising about at least 10 times more advertising. So we expect somewhere between double and 10 times the number of participants. So hopefully we'll have a lot. I want to thank the people who have volunteered. Bruce and his staff have been out there cutting grass. They put in the additional electrical outlets. I know they're not volunteers, but thank you, Bruce. And Larry and all of the volunteers that have helped work so hard to give us a good festival. I want to remind you about, you'll be receiving an invitation for an open house and business after hours at the Bullock House on June 21st. As you know, we have a new business in downtown Warm Springs, relatively new, which is Fireflies on the opposite end of the corner. So we'll be doing the business after hours at the Bullock House and then walk down to the other corner for the ribbon cutting for Fireflies. So I hope you all can make that, and your invitation will be in the mail tomorrow. We're also working on we've been talking about a congressional forum between the 2 candidates that are running for Lynn Westmoreland's slot. We had originally looked to do one here just in Meriwether County, but now we're talking to Troop and Harris about doing a regional forum. So those plans are underway, and I'll be sharing more about that. I also want to let you know that the tourism product development grants cycle came about again. With those grants were due May 27th, and Meriwether County did submit 4. We submitted 3 from our tourism division, and then the city of Manchester also submitted 1 for the President Theater. So hope that is successful as well as our other 3. So we're continuing to identify opportunities to bring more money into the county to support some of our tourism efforts. The last thing I wanted to mention was I had a meeting yesterday with the folks from FDR State Park. You may recall 3 years ago in 2013, they had a big geocache, what they call a mega event, which has to bring in at least 500 people, and it brought in well over 1,000. This year they already have 1,000 booked, and it's just June, and so they're expecting somewhere between 1,500 and 2,000 people to come into Meriwether County. All the campsites and cabins at FDR State Park are already booked. So I talked to Bruce yesterday about whatever additional campsites that we might have available at Lake Meriwether. So they will definitely be looking to find additional camping spots throughout the county, as well as any lodging that might be available. On the morning of the 13th, which is the Thursday, they will be in Warm Springs. We're expecting, he said probably about 500 of them will be in Warm Springs to do their morning kickoff. This is a time traveler theme, so he said we can expect them to be dressed in time traveler costumes, whatever that might be. So he gave me 2 examples. One is Doctor Who, and I'm not sure who Doctor Who is, but and then another one with the Back to the Future characters. But anyway, it should be quite an interesting experience visually, as well as bringing in folks to Warm Springs and the surrounding communities, because when they came in 2013, and this is a really important point for everybody, when they came in 2013, Warm Springs gas stations gave out of gas, the restaurants gave out of food, So we definitely need to be prepared. We will be putting in their packets all the restaurants in the surrounding area, so we can expect them to be coming up to Woodbury and to Greenville and to other like Manchester, other places for food. So that's a big opportunity for our community in terms of being able to market the entire county. Most of their time will be spent at the state park. They will also be out and about, and of course we will be sharing information about our Woodbury geocache at that time. And I'm sure that they will want to participate in that. So great opportunity from a tourism and promotional perspective. And then lastly, I just want to thank Commissioner Threadgill. I just thought that was a moving tribute to our public safety personnel, and thank you for doing that. It was very, very thoughtful and very compassionately delivered, so thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Carolyn. We appreciate that.
Any questions?
Oh, did you have a question?
What's the status on the mural in Warm Springs? Have they started on it?
Oh, yes, they have. They're almost through. They'll be through by next week.
Are they cutting those bushes down?
They will be, we will be either cutting or pulling the bushes. Ms. Susan would prefer that we not cut them, and so Bruce has pulled some of the ones in the front, so we're hoping that he'll be able to take care of that before the mayor chops them down.
Because I saw them working on it, but you
They are
couldn't see
working on
anything
it,
but
yeah,
FDR's
and he's talking about wanting to do a big ribbon cutting, grand opening, whatever, event. And we've spoken to Ellen about that, and he has some connections, particularly because it has 4 presidents on there who have all been in and around Marietta County. So we're hoping to get some pretty good splash from that. He's talked to Jocelyn Dorsey already for Atlanta coverage, and we'll be keeping you all posted and informed about that.
Is he still thinking he's going to be able to also finish the work in Lonoc as well, or we're
Yes,
just looking at?
he has tried to reach the mayor in Lonoc, but he did not receive a return phone call yet. I'm going to follow up myself with the mayor. So it's very critical that the mayor of Lonoc and Mr. Christian, the artist, get together while he's here so that he can assess the status of that building, because that one also, according to our grant funding, has to be finished by the end of June. So we've got a clock ticking here. So.
Thank you. Thank you for all your work.
Any further questions? Thank you, Ms. Carolyn.
And by the way, Saturday, if any of y'all can be at the Peaches in the Ponds Festival, we would love to have you make some comments or do a welcome to the crowd. So.
Oh, okay. And what time are you going to do that?
Well, the festival starts at 9, so I would say once we look around and we say, wow, this is a big crowd, let's do it now.
Close enough, thank you. Miss Jasmine with the animal shelter.
Morning. I'll give a quick update on how things are going. Concrete for the addition is about 2/3 of the way done. The last piece of the concrete is actually being delivered right now, so they're setting it today. The block crew has been there actually all week. They just haven't been able to start anything because the concrete's not really completed. So that will hopefully start today, tomorrow. And then I was going to have Mr. Wendell Willis, who is the construction supervisor, here with me today, but he did have to postpone the concrete to today, so he couldn't be here because of yesterday's chance of rain that didn't really happen. So after this concrete is set, blocks will go up. He anticipates that it will be done by July 1.
The entire structure?
That-
Because I was talking to someone that was wanting to know.
Yeah, it's pretty quick. So it'll be a lot of kennels. The drains will be one big long kennel instead of those not so nice 3-inch drains that we have such a hard time with. So it'll be a lot easier to flush the entire line. We won't have as many issues with things backing up. The shelter, it has flooded before. We won't have issues like that on that side of the kennels. So we look forward to it.
Ask Mr. Wendell if there's any reason those block layers can't start on the lower side and come forward.
I will.
All right.
I will. But that's it.
Anything else?
Everything's going well.
Any questions, Commissioner? Thank you, Ms. Jasmine. We appreciate that. Mr. Brand, last but not least, go ahead, sir.
Wanted to kind of give you guys an update on the 911 center. Back in 2014 was when we started on the technology side of this and some other little things, and graduated into full-blown construction. Basically, it's been over a year and a half of and we didn't report, we're coming to the close and coming to the end of a long road. And what I mean by that is the interior, and most of you have been over there to see it, the interior for the 911 center is nearly complete. In fact, we plan on occupying the new side on the 14th, if all goes well. Matter of fact, I have right now the installers for the consoles waiting for me. For the dispatcher consoles, well, those should be sitting, and then the equipment will be going. We came, in this time, we've been able to put a new roof on it, redo the outside exterior, remodel the fitness center, redo the front hallway, reinforce the flooring in the front end of it, which was kind of a come across thing that we found out the floor was actually coming in on the front side of the building there, and do a little extra storage, building shelves and things like that in the front area where we had our storage, and the sheriff's department stored their filing cabinets. And then back into the 911 center itself, which used to be just two big open cement cell blocks, which in my opinion look very, very nice at this point. At this point, we have some exterior things, I mean, just some parking lot stuff. I mean, you know, there's no way in the world we can afford to pave it, but I mean, just some grading and some graveling, you know, just to get a few extra parking places. But for the most part, we're nearing completion of the interior portion of the 911 center. A couple people I'd like to call out and thank, and that one of those is Bill Gregory for his support during the project, and also Bruce O'Neill. His electricians have been invaluable to us. Of course, you know, when we first started this, we were thinking 2, maybe 3 weeks, and the guys have been over there, I think, close to 3 months at least, 3 or 4 times a week, if not, you know, all week. So, but they're doing a heck of a job, and really have hung in there with us. So at this point, I think at some point we'll have a more comprehensive report for you as far as start to finish, pictures and all that. But what questions could I answer for you at this point?
I guess the first question I would like to ask, Brent, you've experienced some cost overrun there with that project. Do you feel that was pretty well justified by the previous board? Did they say, as your cost increase, that was okay?
Well, that was just, I mean, I think that was just things that crept up on us, things that we, had to do. I mean, you know, the overrun, I think, I'm gonna let Bill speak on as far as that goes, but he's kind of been the money guy in all of this, being the finance director. But the main cost that I think that we incurred with the overrun was the unanticipated front of the building with that flooring and having to rebrace all the flooring up front. And of course we had a few other things that came up that just weren't foreseeable. And it was either, you know, just shut the whole project down or, you know, continue forward.
Probably one question that I've got would be understanding that this is probably phase 1, that we'll probably need a phase 2 or some other additional work in order to complete it. Will we have an open house for the public to come out and see what has been accomplished and how? Because I think it's something to be proud of, and I want to commend everybody that's had to endure. And there's been a lot of noise and distractions, and then to carry on 911 center as the main focus. And all kudos to the staff that put up with that. And I know it probably was very distracting. But the thing that I would like to see is, do we have plans on phase 2, what they would be, what we're talking about as far as cost? And there again, it is an old building, but where do we get it to completion? Because, you know, it is something to be proud of, but at the same time, where are we in this process? So.
Well, initially the plans were, and this is kind of the whole, and Commissioner Threadgill this point was the only one present for these talks. The initial plan was when we moved into the 911, we would make the present space the Mercy Operations Center. I don't know where we're at right now with that as far as what we're, I've just heard some talks of, not doing that, but as far as that goes, that was the original plan. Just a minimal investment in that area over there, which I think we had some EMA funding for an EOC renovation. And then, some minor adjustments to the outside of the building now that can be anywhere from landscaping to new fencing to, I don't see paving or asphalt anywhere in our near future there. I mean, it's just too costly, but just some little things that could improve the aesthetics of the building itself, I think would not be too out of line. But yes, phase one, to answer your question, do we want to have an open house? Yes, but where we are right now, I don't know. My plan was we would go directly in and try to do the other side, but that's kind of been put on hold and in a kind of see where we are, move in and see where we are situation. I have no plan on having an open house. I would prefer, if we had an open house, to wait until it was done, but, we can, so right now that's kind of in the planning phase. Right now we're just trying to get in the space.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, ma'am.
I have a question. Getting back to the overall comprehensive workup on that, in that when you do that, that would talk about phase one and phase two, if there is whatever phase two would look like. But in that write-up, I'd definitely like to be able to see the numbers in that as well, if that's feasible. I'm sure Bill has the numbers, but as a report, to see what those numbers look like and what percentage, because even if you have a overrun, you may have saved in some other areas. So percentage-wise, I would like to know what percentage did we go over it, and which particular category we did.
Okay.
Good question. Change horses on you just a little bit here and look at the GIS mapping. Where are we on that, Brent? Is that about ready to become up, viable, running? You also went to school on that just a short time ago.
I went to some brief school, and I still have some classes I was supposed to go to. And the trainer, who is Jimmy, last name, Carl Vincent Institute, he was the one that he was here and did his presentation to the board, the previous board. I still have to go and spend several days with him, but he canceled the last time on me. So this right here has kind of taken a front seat, getting this completed, and then shortly after this is done, I'll be moving straight into that, into the GIS side.
Any target date for this?
To what stage? Because GIS covers a tremendous.
Where it actually becomes effective for use in the county.
As far as
people being able to take the overlays and identify different installations, different things that are out there, where 911 will know. You can actually, from what you've explained to me, you can do an overlay where everybody can see just about what they need to see.
That's correct. Yeah, and that, now as far as the 911 side, we've already started a lot of that through the CAD mapping software. That's been a lot of what I've been doing, as a matter of fact, is straightening up our old mapping files / GIS files. So I guess to back up a little bit to your question, that's already started as far as that goes. The actual GIS and using the ARC viewer software and all that, that's the next step. And as far as getting that into QPublic, where the public can use that, I think we're very close on that. I'm going to have to check and see with Jimmy Nolan's, who my name is. We actually do have our parcels. We have those done. Those are finished.
Okay.
So, like I said, I just want to see what we have to do to get those over to QPublic, and then the public actually can start using those just by going in.
That was all of my questions, Commissioners.
I don't have it.
Okay, thank you, Brent. Appreciate your report.
permission. I'm going to excuse myself. I have some some folks waiting for me, if that's okay.
Okay. Jasmine, yes, ma'am.
I don't know if you guys recall last year that we had a student from Greenville High School, her name was Taylor Stevens, that worked with us as a summer intern through Paxson. She will be with us again this summer.
Okay.
And there is a possibility that there can be up to 5, now that's a little bit, little over the top. So we'll see how that goes, but I did attend the orientation on Monday afternoon for that, and should be hearing from them either, well, it should have started yesterday, but hopefully today I'll hear back from them. And we'll have another employee for a little bit.
Well, thank you for that report, Jasmine.
Thank you.
That pretty much ends our department heads. As far as public hearing, I don't think we have any at all here. Ms. Kelly, are you having any trouble staying up so far? Okay, very good. Okay, at this time, we'll begin our old business, and I will ask Mr. Thurman if you would. I think you have advised me, Department of Public Health, for change in county code reading is to be tabled.
Yes, sir. We want to table that. Ms. Henderson and myself want to meet with environmental health to be sure we cover all the aspects of what they've got, because we just need to review that a little further before we bring that back, because they're asking us to change some of the code numbers in order to allow them to be able to prosecute in magistrate court, and it involves more than just a few. It involves several different aspects of the job they do. So we want to meet with those. Actually, we've already tentatively scheduled that meeting for Monday week, so we should have this ready to go hopefully by your next meeting.
Okay. Do I have a motion to table?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? So tabled.
Thank you.
The roof of the jail is our next item here, and I believe that was tabled last time. And are you the one going to speak on this, Mr. Bill?
You want to open up on that, or?
You go ahead.
If you recall, many months ago, the sheriff came to the board with problems on the roof in the jail, and they've only gotten worse over time. So we have solicited bids for replacing the roof exactly the way it is, and you've got before you those prices on that. And at Commissioner Plant's urging, we looked into another process, whereas it's a membrane, but it's sprayed on, and we've asked for prices to do that, and those prices are also on the memo that I sent to you. And the only con to that spray-on membrane is the warranty. It's only 15 years, but in talking with the manufacturer and doing some research, at the end of that 15-year warranty period, if the roof is properly maintained per their recommendations, they will extend that warranty in 10-year increments. So if we elect to do that, it would be incumbent on us to make sure that we properly maintain that roof and the maintenance to that. The roofing contractor, MJR Solutions out of Manchester, gave us the best quote on applying that. And I don't know if you had a chance to look at all the information that I emailed to you yesterday evening. Even the process with the Waffle House, if you had a chance to look at that, it shows the complete installation. And what's attractive also about this is the manufacturer more or less spearheads the effort. He is on site. He directs the contract as to what he's supposed to do and make sure he does it and applies the application correctly, which we had some concerns about that, but the manufacturer assures us that it will be put on correctly so that they can, stand behind that warranty. So with that said, it's our recommendation that we issue a contract not to exceed $135,052 to MJR Solutions in Manchester. Got any questions, we'll try to answer them for you.
Commissioner Hines?
Yeah, when you said that, that we maintain it properly, what does that mean?
They'll have some maintenance requirements, like keeping debris off the roof and those kind of things.
And how often is this? Is there a scheduled time that you're supposed
I'm
to
sure
get it done?
they'll have a schedule for us to adhere to, plus, all the things that are involved in that maintenance schedule.
Okay. So that will be part of the contract. It will say specifically what that may look like.
Right.
And the other thing is, with this spray membrane, they're not doing it. MGR Solution actually will do
contract
the
actually
work.
does
They
the
contract the work.
Right.
Do we know, have they done this before?
And they gave me a couple of references over in LaGrange. I hadn't been able to contact them yet and go look at them. One of them is a medical center over there, pretty large roof,
Okay.
that we'll go and check out and talk to them about that.
Commissioner Threadgill?
Before I'd be able to make any decisions, I'd like to see what the requirements are to maintain it for that first 15 years to make sure that we're able to do what is required before we go into anything with that.
And obviously, we need to document all that maintenance, a way to follow all that.
Because my concern is you don't want later on for them to say we were negligent and we're not in compliance, and that's a reason. And just help me out again, what portion of the jail is this being done on?
There's a low part and a high part. It's both parts.
It's both parts.
Yes, ma'am.
The part that was added on later, so.
Correct.
Okay.
Commissioners, am I hearing you want to table at this time?
Until further information was obtained.
We can do that.
Then we'll entertain a motion to table.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? So passes. Motion is tabled. Approval of public transportation service agreement with Three Rivers. Is this yours, Mr. Gaines?
Yes, sir, it is. And I had asked you guys to table this at the last meeting, and the reason was there was some language we felt needed to be corrected in the contract because it actually didn't reference Meriwether County. And last week we were able to talk with them and have the changes made that corrected those issues. Now, this is a annual service contract. This has nothing to do with the third bus. It's been ordered. That bus has been ordered and hopefully will be in sometime this fall. At that time, this contract can be modified as the board will have an opportunity to make decisions on routes that may involve that third bus. But for right now, this is just a continuation of the program. The maximum amount of fee to the county will be $11,000, the same as last year. If the ridership goes up and exceeds expectations, that dollar amount will come down. And just a little bit of information that they've given us. There are about 450 vehicle trips a month. They average 8.56 miles, and we are averaging about 3,850 miles per vehicle per month. 37% of that goes to senior citizens, 27% to employment education, 16% to medical, and 20% to local shopping, recreation, and other events. So, it's been a very good program. I know we've done some things such as lettering the bus with the telephone numbers and contact information that's helped the ridership and the usage of it. The third bus will give us some additional options on where we may be able to deliver that service, and we'll come back to you guys and answer any questions and present that once that bus is in place.
So it's your recommendation that we renew the service contract?
Yes, sir, it is.
Commissioner, what's your pleasure?
I just have a question.
Sure.
Is there 100% necessity for a third bus? Because there are so many times that I drive through the county in different spots and see those buses just pulled over with no one on.
Right. The third bus, of course, the decision was already made and it has been ordered. I think what you'll need to do with that third bus is to see whether or not you want to utilize it for services that cannot be obtained here in Meriwether County for our citizens, such as maybe medical trips to Columbus or Newton or LaGrange. Right now, we don't offer any of that. And so that would be primarily, I think, the focus on the third bus is being able to provide some of those services that you can't currently offer here with the buses that we have. And I agree with you. Sometimes you see those, kind of sitting and waiting. Sometimes they're waiting to pick people up, a variety of things, and that's kind of the way the program is. It's not like the train in Atlanta that comes, so often. But the third bus will give us additional options on the service. And I've had a lot of calls about wanting to go to various locations for services they just can't get here. And so that will be the focus of the third.
I just want to elaborate a little bit too, especially on the northern end, when people who live in Lone Oak or Luthersville, they want to go to the grocery store to come all the way to Woodbury. It's just so time consuming. So if we decide that the bus can at least go a certain distance outside of the county, because if you're in Lone Oak or in St. Mark area, and you want to go to Ingalls, that is just, it's only, 10 minutes away. So I think however we decide as a board, this will definitely increase ridership. And then when you talk about people who are just wanting to go from Luthersville to Greenville, it's just, much quicker and easier for them. So once again, I think the opportunity for it to expand would even be more greater. But it's good to see that the ridership is still pretty good in the sense of what Three Rivers had anticipated. The medical part of it definitely helps out, and definitely helps our seniors a lot.
Is this something will have to be signed immediately?
Yes, sir, it needs to be, because it needs to be returned by June the 30th, because Three Rivers has to actually get it on up to GDOT prior to,
I guess my question is, will I need to sign that or will Ms. Bell have to?
you'll probably sign that, yes, sir, if you're.
Well, I need a motion to renew the service agreement and the authority to sign.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? So passes. I guess the next item here on our agenda is agreement with Georgia EPD drinking water laboratory related services, and I think that one's yours.
Yes, sir, it is. And this is, again, is a continuation of an agreement. The state will provide certain services, particularly to smaller water systems, and they do testing for a variety of items, copper and things such as that. This service is actually $790 a year for the routine testing, and they can do more extensive testing, upon a request. And this is a program we've used for several years, and I would recommend, upon review of this, that we move forward with the execution of this contract. And this is something you're going to have to do testing on in compliance with the Safe Water Act. So.
Safety water.
Commissioners, we need a motion to okay this agreement with Georgia EPD Drinking Water Laboratory. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? So passes.
Thank you.
It looks to me that ends our old business and we're now ready to start new business. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. That is correct.
And the first item is water and sewage bond payments.
Okay.
And you get the sticky wicket.
Right. You the man.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I think you got a little thing in your packet, looks like this. Basically, all y'all know, we accomplished our bond and refinanced it. But in doing that, our tipping fees are still not coming up to what our bond payment is. So sitting down with Mr. Bill and Theron here, we came up with two options we could go with to get us there. Our intergovernmental agreement between the Water and Sewer Authority and the county has always read that we get $1.50 per ton. But way back in the initial setup of the Water and Sewer Authority, before we were appointed, it was decided that we could make our payments with 1.33 per ton. But because of the tonnage never coming up to the expectations, we never were able to make that money wasn't done. So talking to Mr. Bill and Mr. Gay about what our different options may be, the first option was to uphold our intergovernmental agreement at $1.50 per ton, and then have the county just subsidy us up each month or each quarter with an infusion of money to make the payment. And what that would come out to be would be either about $47,898.96 per quarter, or about $15,966 per month.
Give me that monthly quote.
The monthly was $15,966.31 a month.
That's subsidizing.
Yes, to subsidy, yeah, to make us, now, the other option that we could do would be to actually change the intergovernmental agreement to $2 per ton. Now, what that would do, that would leave the county a little short on their end of what you're receiving. But as you look at the figures that we got on the industrial park, right now, the industry's up there. They're paying us back about $159,000 a year, and each year that goes up as the tax rebatements come off of those industries we got in the park. You know, this has been an investment of our infrastructure up there. So when we look at the taxes that are coming back from that, it's kind of a repayment of that investment in the infrastructure. The difference between the two options would be just basically, you know, option number one would probably leave a little more options on the county's side of, most likely, now that we've renegotiated this, we'll probably do this again in probably 6 or 8 years. These bonds with financing like this, usually that's the way it works. Every 6 or 8 years, you go ahead and kick the can down the road, redo it, and get your payment back now. But now this bond is going to last 24 years. So whatever decisions we make, we kind of need to keep in mind it's going to be a 24-year decision here. If we go with option one, then down the road, if we renegotiate the bond again, then we just redo what the county is giving back over to us. If we go with option two, that pretty much settles it from now on. That's what the Water and Sewer Authority will get, and we can actually, quote, take that to the bank with any future bond agreements that we'd have to do. This would, option two would be a more of a situation that is solved. With option one, we're always going to be negotiating and taking another look at it to see where we are. So,
one of the things the board may want to consider with option one is hopefully at some point with additional water customers, they're going to move forward.
As you can see, you know, if we're just looking at making all this, yeah.
Additional county.
If we had if we were to get a big water user and we were to be able to profit $15,000 a month, then the county would not have to put anything back into us.
And that's the way I think option
one is as our situation changes, that can be changed a little easier. If we go to option two, then it's pretty much there.
I have a question.
Sure.
If we go with option two, that would mean we need a new intergovernmental agreement, right?
Right. We'd have to do that.
have to
We'd have to redo the
in order
intergovernmental
to
agreement,
change that.
which is just, you know, some lawyer fees to do that. It's not a big deal. You know, it's about a 6-page document with maybe numbers on 1 page, and that's about it. The option two also would maybe on the Water and Sewer Authority's side of it. Down the road, if we had more projects and we've got this revenue stream coming to us, we've got a way to fund those projects. When we look at other things in the county, whether it be helping the other water systems expand and try to tie together, when we sat down and talked with the folks in Coweta County about coming in the north side of the park, we were talking about having maybe a main loop of water that would run around the north side of the county just to supply our other water systems. All our water systems in the county are on wells. I don't think we got anybody other than Woodbury that's on a actual, good source of water. So if we're gonna expand all our other little systems, we're gonna have a way to get water to them somewhat.
We go by contract, I think, so late.
Right. Yeah, now we're looking at some options. We have an option pulled out of the reservoir over in Griffin, and we're looking into to see if that option is a sellable, viable thing that we can actually sit down and deal with Coweta County to see if that would help us dealing with them. But
The immediate business here before.
the immediate business is just looking at this tipping fee to see which way we need to go, because starting in July, our payments go up to $57,389.38 apiece.
Okay.
Is that per month?
Nope, that's per month. Now, the numbers I put on your little sheet, that's per quarter. And the only reason I did it per quarter is that's because we receive our tip. It just makes sense when I'm trying to figure out what we need is to figure it per quarter.
Option one comes out of Mr. Bill's checkbook, is what I'm seeing. Option
Yes.
two would be out of your checkbook.
Right. That would be the big difference too, is option one, Mr. Bill's gonna have to constantly be, giving us some infusion of funds. With option two,
Well, by the same token, the county retains control though if it's coming out of his checkbook. If there's any overage, what have you. You've thought this through pretty well, Mr. Dunaway.
well,
I know Shirley does.
Go ahead, Shirley.
First of all, is this something we need to vote on today?
They're gonna have to,
They're gonna have to.
I think you have to do it at least by the next meeting, at the very latest, because that
we
bill.
need to have it solved by July, because that's when the payment goes. And our July payment, our payment is always at the end of the month, so we got to the end of July, really.
This is, for me personally, I need to read some more, and I have some questions, because I really thought with us refinancing, put you in a better position to handle this. This is, to be honest with you, I'm very disappointed to hear that even through the refinancing, we still got to look at these options here. And so once again, that tells me we've got to do a better job of we kept saying, if we get someone in the park, we've got to do a better job of getting someone in that park, or we've got to do a better planning long-termly. I understand what you're saying. Unfortunately, I think this board went above and beyond as far as helping getting that refinancing done. But I'll be quite honest, I'm very disappointed to know that we've got to go back and address this on this level. I don't have all the particulars right now, and I'll take my time to read this. But once again, we have got to quit band-aiding situations. We have got to think far enough down the road. And if we're not in a position to do something on the scale that we think we are, then we don't do it. That's just my personal opinion. But this is nowhere near what I would, after all the work that we did, I'm very disappointed to know that you still can't meet it.
Yeah, I'm actually shocked that it's coming back asking us for additional money after the refinancing to do this. And Shirley's word disappointment, but I'm pissed off about it, to be honest with you. And, furthermore, why should the citizens in this county have to pay an additional $15,000 per month to subsidize this when the refinancing was supposed to, in my understanding from everybody, take care of this situation and to help lower it? We haven't had an issue making those payments yet, and I know that issue was coming up.
Well,
Right.
all the reason we had that,
Larry, hold on. And the other point of this is, we have waste companies in this county that are coming from other counties that I think this board needs to step up and make a decision that if we're going to allow that as a trash service in this county, then they need to use our landfill to dump the damn trash in. They don't need to take it to another county and increase their tipping fees. So we've already stepped up and approved the refinancing, but I think we need to step up and make these trash vendors come in and use and utilize ours. If not, everybody can get out.
Well, and the thing, just want to elaborate, I agree with you wholeheartedly. Once again, you hear different rumors. You don't know exactly what's actual factual until you read it on paper. But I'm hearing that the dumping fees are so high to go to Turkey Run that other people don't want to come. So if we're not competitive enough that people want to come and use the Turkey Run landfill, then it's not going to ever increase to the point where they're going to generate enough money. You see what I'm saying? So, you know, you got it,
The
but
tonnage has never come up to what the expectations were when
yeah,
it
we
originally
understand
was
that.
done.
We understand that.
And that has just kind of been a,
And it's been open now going into its 5th or 6th year.
right.
So at the rate it's going, and it's supposed to operate for 30 years, and right now they're nowhere near where they're supposed to be. So the odds are some changes need to be made, and I just don't think it needs to be made on the backs of the taxpayers, simply because this, you know, everybody know I was not for this. It's here. I've worked with it. But at this stage, something definitely needs to be done. There needs to be some more dialogue on everybody's part on this, because I don't think it's fair for the citizens to have to subsidize a business that's supposed to be providing, that was supposed to bring all of this to the county.
Okay, at this time, what I'm going to do, as I listen to what's taking place here, we're going to at least table till the next time, and there'll be some discussion between now and then.
Could I mention one thing to you guys, just where you'll understand the impact? You actually were able to reduce the payments by $447,000.
We understand that.
So without that bond refinancing, which is something that I think all of us kind of inherited, you wouldn't be looking at 16 a month. You'd be looking at coming in with an additional $400,000, I think.
Our old bond payment was about $98,000 a month.
Yeah.
So, you know, the difference would have been from 98,000 to 58,000, we'd be looking at 47,000 a month rather than 15,000.
I hear that, but at the end of the day, you still don't have the money to pay. You're still coming to this board asking us to subsidize it. So I hear what you're saying, and I didn't have a problem with the refinancing, but at some point in time, something else got to give.
When you look at both bond agreements, whether it be the first bond agreement or the one we're under,
We never were in a position to pay.
nowhere in there does it suggest it's a revenue bond. We pay the revenue bond back with the revenues we get from the tipping fee. Nowhere in either bond agreement does it even suggest that we're supposed to do this with a portion of the tipping fees. It's in there that we should be using all the tipping fees to pay this bond off.
Okay.
And that's what we're not doing yet.
Okay.
Well, again, just to end this dilemma today, I would like for a motion to table the next time, and there'll be discussions between now and then. Do I hear a motion?
So moved, and the reason that I want to table it is, I think all 5 of us need to be here.
I think you're absolutely right. The best we could do now, even if you had 2 voting for it, would be a tie, so that would get us nowhere. Okay, do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor? So moved. Thank you, Mr. Dunaway. At this time, our topic is Teen Maze.
This is Kathy Elliott with the Girl Scouts. She's spearheading it.
And actually, they're not with the Girl Scouts, I'm
Oh, I'm
a
sorry.
representative of the committee, but that's okay.
Got a Girl Scout on your
I do have
shirt
Girl
there.
Scouts on. I'm also the director of Girl Scout camp. I wear a lot of hats. So, wanted to thank you guys. I'm not sure if you guys had a chance to come
And
out.
that last name is Elliott.
Elliot.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if any of y'all had a chance to come out to the Teen Maze last year in
Did.
February.
We did.
It was amazing and impactful. We used to do the Teen Maze with Troup County as a joint effort. And the experience that the kids got from Meriwether County when we did it on their own, they were able to spend a lot more time in the maze. They were able to have some of those local connections and meet so many local people that it was amazing. We're starting this year, one of the things that the committee is doing is gathering all of the data that they got from the exit surveys of the kids. And they're going to do some pre and post, and hopefully after the next Teen Maze, be able to have some statistics to give you guys about the impact that we're seeing. The kids aren't quite old enough. The goal is to get the kids when they're in 8th grade before they have a chance to engage in hopefully so many of the risky behaviors that can lead to, oh gosh, STDs, teen pregnancies, dropping out of high school, all of those things that, you know, both emotionally, psychologically, and financially cost the county. We missed this current year's 8th graders
So in September, we're targeting the ninth graders so that we don't miss any school years. And then the tentative plan is that next year, in 2017, we're going to do 2 grades at once. We're going to do 8th grade and 9th grade, and then we're going to pick up with just the 8th graders again, because that's really where we want to target those kids. And that way we don't end up skipping a year of kids, if that makes sense. The budget that we brought, it's got a couple of different costs involved. There's some recurring costs, and then there's some investment costs. Things like the crying, we call them crap babies, where the kids pick them up and they go through what's it like, the pregnancy bellies, the posters, the STD wheel, all of those types of things that are reused from year to year to year. Last year we purchased roughly half of what we needed, and we borrowed quite a bit from Heard County. The goal is for Meriwether County to own its own set, to be able to operate independently. So the $4,500 we're asking for, roughly $2,500 of that would go for the final investment, so that Meriwether County would own everything we need, and about $2,000 of that would go towards recurring costs. And then we've got several partners. Last year we had donations from, independent folks. The McCoy Grading, Blackbird Cafe gave us the lunch for volunteers at cost. Southern Classics, Hill's Funeral Home, lots of different churches. The Girl Scouts donated a lot of in-kind donations, as well as some of the corporate groups were donating, cash to the agency. But
Appreciate the work you're doing. It looks like, Miss Elliott, you're asking for $4,500.
We are, and I know that's quite a bit.
Those funds would come from the date fund.
The date fund itself, and the date fund is looking pretty good, is that correct?
That's really,
And the sheriff's aware of this, and he's in agreement.
Any questions of Ms. Elliott?
I just want to, once again, I attended last year, I think Mr. McCoy was there, fantastic.
It's
good. So once again, thank you for all the hard work. But I also want to thank you for your your presentation, and thank you for this budget.
Absolutely.
This is very detailed. I'm a detailed person. I like it. It kind of breaks down exactly where everything is going and has been spent. So this gives me personally, I don't know about the rest of the board, but it allows me to see where the dollars are going and why it's important. So once again, very well presented. Thank you so much.
I wish I could claim credit for that. That was actually prepared by Lisa.
Okay, that's fine. Whoever did a good job.
Also, you guys do have a copy. This is a copy of the book that the kids got. And they actually got a bound book version, but this has all the information in it. One of the plans for the future, just so you guys are in the loop, in here we've got the QR codes that they can scan with their smartphones, and that'll take them to the websites that'll help with various, for example, this is bullying, or with date rape, or with pregnancy or drugs or anything like that. One of the conversations we're having is, rather than a booklet, not this year, but maybe in a couple of years, to develop an app for the kids to be able to use on their smartphones, rather than carrying around paper. So we're trying to, which would also, there would be an initial cost, but going forward, that would be tremendously cheaper and not have so much paper, which honestly they're probably not going to carry around much of it.
I do have one other question too. Like I said, the impact on this for the children is just phenomenal. Is there a component in here, I know it says teen, but there's a component for the adults?
It's not particularly targeting the adults. I think the volunteers get a lot out of it, but the teens are really the focus. So there's some volunteer training. There's an opportunity when we set it up that we let the parents come through, and they can come through with their kids. We have about 150 adult volunteers.
Okay.
So there's certainly, some training and things that the adults are getting. This year we're including homeschools, so that'll be some family involvement as well. But the target is really changed.
Thank you, Ms.
Thank
Elliott.
you so
We appreciate that. Her request is for $4,500 from the date fund, and Mr. Bill says we're well able to handle that. Is there a motion to grant the $4,500?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Thank you. The next item on our agenda is a request to change the name of Tiggs Road to Emerson Road, and this was a previous petition, if I'm not mistaken.
It was a petition, Mr. Chairman, that went into Ron's office, and Ron's here, he can speak on this if the board has any questions, but the petition came in to change the name from Tiggs Road to Emerson Road, and it was the signatures of all the property owners on the road. It's located in the Odessa-Dale community as per required with our county policies and ordinances. That was advertised in the local organ, the Vindicator, and is back today for consideration by the court. So it's been properly advertised for the 2-week period.
Now, I have all the petitions, I have a petition from all the properties on that road, agreeing to sanction that. And it has been noticed in the legal order and Vindicator in the past 2 weeks, which is the problem. So, petitions in hand, two other notices, that's all we need to do.
And it's your recommendation, then, sir?
My recommendation. Hadn't had any calls from anybody about names, opposed names.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Garrett. Y'all have heard we've met all county policy on this name change. And the request is to go from Tiggs Road to Emerson Road. Board, what is your pleasure?
Since it's in my district now, I'd like to make a motion that we make the name change from Tiggs to Emerson.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions? At this time, I'd like for the board to vote. In favor? Thank you. Now we're up to grand jury presentments. Now, soon, this is just a discussion item.
It's actually, yes, sir, just to get it into the records, I always like to bring the grand jury presentments back. There's really no findings. They visited the jail, but there's no findings whatsoever. And they were thanking all the people involved in the court, including the judges, the DA, the clerk's office, and the sheriff, for doing a good job. So this is really just for acceptance into the county records is all it's for.
Any other comments on that? So noted. Let's move on to our next item. We have
Do we need to vote?
no, we do not. Pardon?
And while you're pointing out where Ms. Jackson wants to speak to the road name change.
Oh, okay, all right.
Oh, we didn't know about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Good morning, everybody.
Did you fill out audience participation form? If you'll do that before you leave, we'd appreciate it, okay?
Richard?
My name and address?
Yes, ma'am, that'd be fine.
My name is Betty Jean Jackson Lewis.
Yes, ma'am.
I am the oldest daughter of Emerson and Lavonza Jackson. And I want to say thank you to the board and to everybody, and especially thanks to Mr.
Garrett?
Garrett, thank you. Mr. Garrett for his work in helping us to get this name change. And to Ms. Plant, who is my commissioner in the Odessa District, for making the motion to accept. I'm just so happy, so grateful that it went through, and my dad raised his family on this road, but it wasn't Tiggs then. And it's so good for me as the eldest of 8 children to start the process with my husband, Clifford. And I'm just so grateful that it was done, and thank you so very much.
Well, thank you for your comment, Ms. Betty G. It looks like the next item, I skipped one, didn't I? Award 2016 LMIG road paving.
Yes, sir.
And go ahead, Mr. Gay, and address that one.
Absolutely. Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, as you know, Meriwether County accepted seal bids for patching, level, and resurfacing of approximately 11.25 miles of roadway. And that's been before the board, and we made application for LMIG funds. Bids were accepted until last Friday at 12 noon and were opened publicly. They were read out loud and recorded, and Mr. Gregory and I were both present at the bid opening. We received 2 bids, one with Piedmont Paving and one with C.W. Matthews. They both responded. After reviewing the bids, took them home this weekend, Bill and I had looked at them, and we reviewed them, and both the bids were complete and responsive. And Piedmont Paving actually presented the lowest proposal with a bid of $1,327,092.92. Now, the bids were very competitive because there was only about $14,000 difference in the 2 bids. And we have received funding from GDOT in the amount of $501,719 to go toward this program, and the balance of it would come out of the county's SPLOST dollars for resurfacing roads. To give you guys just a little bit of information on this, last year our paving costs were $180,000 a mile. okay? That included a good little bit of patching, but we got some patching this year. We changed over to a new methodology with a sand seal, a double surface sand seal, and I think we told you guys that was coming in at a more cost-effective program. When you take the dollars per mile that this is costing, and you divide it by the 180 we paid last year, it's actually 65.5% of what we paid last year per mile. So we saved
A little more than the 50% we thought.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now the bids came in a little bit higher than what I was hoping they would come in, but I think that's sort of the trend. There's so much work out there right now that I talked to another county engineering department yesterday, and they're seeing the prices creep up a little bit too. Still, it's an effective program. This is more miles than I think that we've done in a long time. And this will include patching, leveling, which will take the tire tracks and the levels, it'll level the roads back out. And then we've got the double surface sand seal, and then striping and stop bars and everything else on these roads as part of that project. So we would recommend that the board approve and accept the low bid from Piedmont Paving, authorize the chairman or vice chairman to execute the contract, and then authorize us to move forward with a notice to proceed letter once the contract is complete. They're going to have to provide us with performance bonds and things of that nature, which there's not going to be a problem with. They're a reputable company. But we would like to move forward with that ASAP, where we can go ahead and get our paving project started this year.
You want to get this in this week is what I'm...
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. This has been a long time, a lot of work, has gone into this, so we want to get that taken care of. And I've got the bids, copies of the bids, the board wants to see those, and Bill has, I think, the originals. And Susan, I'll actually give you this copy where you can look at it.
How much will be coming out of our SPLOST?
There's going to be about 800,000 coming out of SPLOST.
Are we good for that, Mr. Bill?
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay.
And that would still leave us some funds for our striping program, which is going to be coming in,
Okay.
and some funds really for another program, services program for the other.
Board of business before us is Piedmont Paving is the recommended contractor for a bid of $1,327,092.92, and that we sign that authorization this week. Do I hear the motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? So passes.
Thank you.
We're going to get to you now, Ms. Susan. The first reading for proposed amendments to the Meriwether County Code of Ordinances, Chapter 3, alcoholic beverages.
Yes, thank you. This was an amendment to our Chapter 3 alcoholic beverages. And basically what it provides is some additional definitions to cover food caterer, licensed alcohol beverage caterer, premises, permitted event location, special event. And then it also imposes fee schedules for special event permits, licensed alcohol beverage caterer holding current license outside of Meriwether County, as well as alcohol beverage caterers within Meriwether County. And then some requirements for those. It added a new section 3-144, which provides for the permitted locations for special events at which alcoholic beverages will be provided. And it adds a section 3-145 for special events and defines those and delineates what the requirements for those are.
Mr. Chair, I have one question.
Yes, you're recognized.
I have one question. I just wanted to clarify on that $50 per event. So if, let's say, for example, there was a food truck festival, then they would pay that one time, that fee.
If they are a licensed alcoholic beverage.
Right, so if they have a food truck and they sell beer on that truck, they
Correct.
do have to do it.
It would be $50 permit fee per event.
Per event.
Per event.
Okay.
Does any actual reading need to take place on this?
That's it.
Or that's it? Okay, Commissioners, are there any other questions? Let the record show that the proposed amendment was read this day.
And if the board has any questions or any corrections or whatever on that, let us know. We're going to go back over that again as well, and then we'll bring the final reading.
Okay, we have, the next item is ACCG has returned to us a dividend of $4,521 from our ACCG insurance program. Any discussion on that, other than you want to bring it to our attention?
Just to y'all's attention is all. It'll be reflected in premium payments for next year, and we should have those available for you guys at the probably the next meeting.
Okay.
And Beverly and Bill are working on reducing that cost, some more.
And I believe at this time, then, this brings us to Mr. Mike Riley with Stalwart Films.
And I don't see Mike. I'm not sure if he's made it. He had another meeting this morning. He told me he was going to text me when he started this way, and he's not texted me yet. So,
Well, this is a discussion to close Flint River Bridge over there at Flat
It
Shoals.
is.
Is there anything we need to have from him to do that?
let me get you the information that he sent me this morning. Okay?
From what I understand, Commissioners, it's almost a slam dunk. Pike has already closed their side. I don't know what good it would do to keep our side open.
Yeah, it's one of those things where they are looking, here we go, they're looking to close the Flat Shoals Road. They're in Pike County this morning, and they're doing that. They want to close the roads. The tentative dates right now is July the 6th through the 13th. And what they're asking is if they could be permitted to close that for filming. What you have in your packet is a traffic control plan, and they would put this out in advance. So we'd even talk to them about being able to put out an electronic board that says this will be closed from such and such date. And they will show detour routes. There actually is also sheriff's deputy cars on both sides of the river that would be there. They will usually employ people who are off duty, and they'll pay the operators, plus they generally pay the county for use of the equipment. I think Bruce has already left, so he's been working with them as well.
Is that right? Well, I guess, Ronnie, have they met all policy requirements, Ronnie?
They haven't come in for a permit yet.
Oh, they have not?
No, they have not.
Yeah, they're probably waiting to get approval before they come in to do that.
These other film companies, they come in tomorrow and get a permit, they're required to do exactly what Mr. Gates said.
Right.
That's part of the approval process, part of the permit process.
Yeah.
And any cost incurred is theirs.
That it's there, and they off duty deputies, whatever the rate they pay them, off duty deputies pay them.
Right.
And they notify all of our media orders requirements that they notify all property owners when they would close the road, and Commissioner Fred, you was aware of that, because he and that on your road. And, so that be part of their permit.
Ronnie, with them closing the road on the Pike County side, it makes little difference on our side. I mean, whether it's open or not, people cannot cross the bridge.
That's right.
Okay.
The property owners may be affected by getting, I don't have property owners to that section.
And they did indicate in his email to me that they would not block any driveways. Any driveways would be able to access and go.
Chair recognizes Ms. Plant.
My question is, on the permit, do we allow for the time frame? In other words, usually filming is limited to a much shorter period of time. Will the county be compensated through the permit process for the length of time, with it being a full week? Will our permit adjust the rate or anything?
They have to pay $100, I think, maybe $250 fee every day they film.
Okay.
An application fee.
Okay, that's basically answers my question.
I have experience working with this group, and they are really good to work with. They go out of their way to, accommodate the citizens and the property owners in the area. And I'm not aware of through years of filming any real issues with this group. They do a good job. Mr. Riley, I wish he could be here today, but he'll be assured he gets all the permits, and he can, like I said, he bends over backwards to be sure that people are accommodated.
On your recommendation, and it sounds like the time is right here on us, 6 through 13. I mean, that's.
And he may need to have that be just a little bit flexible. As we get a little closer, I may kind of call you guys and say, hey, it's going to be the 7th through whatever, because that's kind of a tentative date for it with weather and everything else. But, we can keep you guys posted. I'd like to see them go ahead and be able to get the signage out, letting people know this is going to be closed during this period. That way people can plan for that, that event that's coming up.
So actually, the only business we're doing is closing that road for that period of time.
You're going to give them the opportunity to close the road for the filming, and he's going to need to meet all the requirements from Ron's office.
Board, do I hear a recommendation or a motion for that?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? It's in your ballpark, Mr. Ronnie. Okay.
Thank you.
At this time,
It may be Mr. Riley here. Gets a little closer, I think.
well, we better not say too much. We might withdraw the motion.
That looks like it. We could say we can have some fun.
Now you don't do that.
Hey, Mike, how you doing, buddy? Good time. Well, you just missed it, but we were bragging on you while you were en route.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, not everybody thinks that's a good idea. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, I think I made record time from Zebulon there. Pretty good movie. Yeah, you guys have your meetings at the same time. So
Oh, is that right?
yeah, yes, sir. So I had
Luckily, you didn't have to cross Flint River at Flat Shoals, right?
actually I did.
Oh, did you? Okay,
Were you successful at Pike?
I was.
Okay.
I had just texted yesterday. You might not got it. Yeah, the Pike County Commission has given us permission to close the bridge. And now I'm asking if y'all can help us with it. I've got some dates, but I'll left them out before.
Mr. Riley, we just okayed this for you, so there will not be any problem. You will just need to get with Mr. Garrett,
Okay.
get everything that's needed and necessary, and you're good to go, sir.
Well, thank y'all very much. That was easy.
Thank you for your presence.
Well, we appreciate the fact that you're finding Meriwether County an attractive place to come and do business. So we are thankful that you are looking at our location, and you're always welcome to come back and film as much as you like.
Well, thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it.
Seriously, Mr. Riley, if they're closing the Pike County side, keeping our side open wasn't going to do much.
Right.
So,
Right. I just want to make sure we're all
right,
on the same
you're
page.
okay.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, buddy.
At this time, we need our finance report.
You've got several reports in front of you. I'll go through them quick, and you can just interrupt me if you have any questions. The first one is the property tax analysis. On the county side, 2015, we're at 93.48% collections as of May 31st. And she's required by law to have that at 95% by the end of June. I think we'd be pretty close to that. And I've also included a couple of other ones.
Tell me how that math works again on the collection.
How the math works? What do you mean?
It's not actually for the year that you have collections. It's stretched over some span of years. That
Yes, that's
95%
correct.
does not mean you've actually collected 95% of the tax.
This calendar year. That means we've collected 95% of that current year taxes. Taxes were mailed out October 1st of last year through June of this year. She's supposed to collect 95% of that tax dollars.
Current years.
Current years.
Oh, look, okay,
Just
okay, I see what you're saying. All right, go ahead, sir. I'm sorry I interrupted.
No problem. Additionally, Mr. Gay and myself met with the school superintendent and his finance director. He'll probably speak on that a little bit later. But I went ahead and included reports for them to give you an idea how much money is outstanding for them on their M&O and their school bond. Any questions on that report? Okay, next, the bank balances. The general fund still has a strong balance, but that will drop quickly during the month of June to absorb the 3 payrolls and the probably a large chunk to pay the road contractor once they get started. And we have issued, per your approval, we issued an RFQ for the 2016 TAN, which will be in the paper this, I guess, the next issue, probably Friday. And that's due in time for us to review them and present them to you guys at the last meeting in June for your approval. Okay, next one is a budget analysis ending April 30th, and overall we've got 50% remaining to be spent in the budget, and at this point in time we should be at 42, so we're still ahead on the expense side. The revenue side, as always, we're way ahead due to the tax collections early in the fiscal year. Once you have a chance to look over that, if you got any questions, I'll be glad to entertain those. And the last report is a SPLOST project status report. You've got the report in front of you. I'll just go down and hit a few high spots. We've already talked about a couple of the issues on it. For priority 1, which was the construction of the ambulance station, some miscellaneous items. The budget was $400,000. We're at $398,000. GSI technology, number 2, the estimates of $200,000. We spent right at $102,000, leaving us $98,000. And from what I understand from Brim, we've got some printers and accessories, equipment to buy, plus some software, and that we have according to Brim, we've got potential to save about $25,000 to $30,000 in that category. Next one, number 3, is the 911 renovation. The budget is $400,000. We're at $431,000 through the end of May. That figure is going to go up probably to $450,000, somewhere in that range. I can answer questions now on what that is. Bryn's already touched on the items that we incur additional cost on. Most of those items were something he didn't mention, but we did some bathroom renovations to make the bathrooms, existing bathrooms, ADA compliant. They weren't, so we had to do that. Plus, he did mention the kitchen renovation over in the existing area.
My concern there, Mr. Bill, was that just that they were approved before they were put down. That somebody on the board had approved those changes that were made when you and I talked earlier.
Okay. Excuse me. Number 4 is the actual CAD system and components. He's got roughly $75,000 left in that budget, and he in conversations with Brent, he thinks we're able to pick up another $35,000 to $40,000 there. Number 5 is paving roads. 6 is paving equipment. In the process on both of those. Number 8 is a broad category. We're about $10,000 over budget on that. Sheriff's vehicles, number 9, about 1,000. Let me back up. If you look on part of, I might have skipped over if I can find it again. Number 5 is renovation of firehouses, purchase of public safety equipment. The budget's $380,000. I've got a breakdown of what that is on the last page. In that 380 is $248,000 for life-saving equipment, those kind of things. $100,000 for a maintenance facility, and $32,000 for renovation of existing firehouses. Now, in conversations that Mr. Gay and I have had with the State Corrections Department, we'd like to, if they can work in their schedule, and they've been receptive to do that, we'd like for them to participate in that maintenance facility with us, and perhaps instead of building a standalone structure somewhere, is to maybe add a couple of bays onto the existing public works facility, which would, we would encourage significant cost savings if we were able to do that.
And you're talking about while the DLC is still here?
Correct.
And we're gonna be, they're working on the animal shelter now. The guys have told me, because I've been checking over the last, few days, they told me once that concrete and all comes up, it's gonna finish pretty quickly, which is what Jasmine said. But what I wanna do is get the supervisors back down and have them meet with us about these other projects. Shooting range.
Shooting range, maintenance facility, and a couple of things over at the 911 building, like some bathrooms that we weren't able to do, and some outside work, parking lot, and some concrete sidewalks and stuff like that they could do relatively easy.
Okay.
And only cost we would have would be the actual materials.
I guess I need to say, board, is there any objections?
No, I just have, how much more do you anticipate this 911 building to cost? To exceed from where we're at?
I think the figure you gave me the other day, Mr. Bill, was $450,000.
So 20,000,
Another 20,000.
another 20,000 okay.
And you think we'll be able to pull that from?
There's, I mentioned, from GIS line item and the technology item, we should be able to make that up in those two categories.
All right.
And if we could just a minute, I'd like to elaborate on the paving the priority roads. Bill, if I'm looking at this right, it's $2,869,830. And to this point, we spent about $683, so we have
That's
about
correct.
$2.2
2.2 million.
to be able to do matching on the LMIG. So we're looking at 800 this time around, but that's still going to leave us, 1.4 million or so going forward to be able to match future large projects.
And hopefully there's no other problems, any major catastrophe that would cause us to pull in.
We hope not.
Yeah, so my thing is, it's like a kid in a candy shop. You got this amount of money to spend, so you go out and spend everything you've got, then you got nothing if you want something
You
later.
need reserve.
Yeah, we need to not just spend everything in these accounts.
I agree. And the thing with GDOT and the payment projects, you really want to be able to have dollars to maximize their contributions, because you've got to match what they bring in, and if you don't have that, then their match and their dollars don't do you any good. So you're exactly right. We need to, we got to watch those dollars as we go forward with our program.
Board, any further questions of Mr. Bill?
Well, Mr. Bill, I like this breakdown.
It's good.
It's good.
In your Dropbox, there's those 3 pages as well as, another 15 to 20 pages of backup data that if you want to look at, it's there.
Okay, if there's no questions, and Mr. Bill, did you have anything else?
That's all I have. Thank you.
Mr. Gay?
Yes, Commissioners. Just wanted to mention a few things. We're working on some options for fire department funding, and probably starting next week, I've asked, we'll be asking to maybe meet with you guys, get your thoughts, ideas, and then of course we'll bring all that information back once we gather what we need. So we've been working on this for quite a while, but we've got to kind of ramp that up and move forward. So sometime in the next week or so, I'll be contacting you and to talk to you about that a little bit further. As Bill said earlier, we met with the school system, the superintendent, the finance director. Bill and I met with them initially to talk about things. Then we went back with another meeting that we set up with the tax officials, Billy from the tax assessors and the tax commissioners were there. But we wanted to go through the calendar and what happens when in terms of moving forward on our setting the millage rate and collections. And I thought it was a very good meeting. Commissioner Hayes had an opportunity to be there, and it was pretty good. We're going to meet again as we get a little closer to be able to cover all the items you have to do, because the most complicated process of, I think, of setting the millage rate is getting the advertising right. The calculation of the numbers to me, is always a lot clearer than what you got to do from advertising. So anyway, I thought it was a good meeting. As Bill said, we're working with the school system. They've got an issue that involves growth in the digest, where their funding mechanisms, state are saying there was a lot of growth, And our tax digest is not showing that same thing, so we're gonna go back and help them try to get that issue resolved. We've continued to meet with FEMA on our road projects. We have King Evans here today from Claw Harbor Engineering with us as well, and they're working with us. We're going to try to go ahead and get estimates right away on some of the bridges that we could do without the hydrology studies, and then we're trying to move forward with the hydrology studies, because I think FEMA, I know they've got some other disasters they've got to deal with. It looks like to me what they want to do is go ahead and close these out and write it up as if it's going to cost you X dollars for replacement. And then after the fact, we're going to go back and deal with the upgrades that are needed. And so that's fine. We need to work with them. Bill's been doing a great job of working with them to get them information. And we're going to talk with King, hopefully here in just a few minutes, about trying to get the rest of those things moving forward. So wanted to mention that. Other than that, trying to go back and review a lot of outstanding tasks that we need to get taken care of, and where we can get that, moving forward. So.
Anything from CSX?
I have not heard back. I called them yesterday and did not hear back from them. They've been given the information they need, and I'm going to run them down this week, and I'll have a report for you guys on where it stands before next week.
Jacksonville.
Well, thank you for that, Mr. Gay. Anything else?
So,
At this time, our report will be from our county commissioners, and I'll start with Commissioner Threadgill.
Just a few things that's already been brought up. The amount that we get per ton, I do want, if they, like Shirley said, if they think that it's too high here in our county so they don't want to use it, let's do comparables as to what they are. Because even if we have to drop it a minimal amount, then if we enforce to get those companies to use it, then our tipping fees will go up. And that's something that we have to do, so I need that report as soon as we can get that.
okay.
Because if we can make them do that, then that will save us from having to put out any more money for the water and sewage amount. And I'm going to say something's probably going to piss some people off in the county, but so be it. The harvesting of trees in this county is kind of getting to a ridiculous point, and by that statement I mean that they're coming in and they're just stripping this land, and they're not doing anything to clean up the properties behind themselves. They're coming in and pretty much, for lack of better words, raping the property and just leaving whatever there is there. And we need to do something, especially on the main right-of-ways and on roads that are traveled so heavily through this county. We need to enforce some type of cleanup of these companies that are coming in, because it is one of the most horrendous looking pieces of property whenever you drive by something like that. It looks as if the county is just dying and falling apart. And we need something that makes the county presentable and that looks decent for people coming through here. Because if I drove through, I wouldn't want to stay in certain parts of the county. And that's in my part, and I know all the way up in Shirley's too, I've seen it. I guess that's pretty much all I have to say.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Flynn.
Only a couple of things, and I picked this up from the Greenville City Council last night, and Miss Linda Wilford made a presentation that Hill Brothers will be opening July the 16th, that they will have open house, and I think plans are in the works, and there may be other events tied in with that, but just want to, if you put it on your calendar, July the 16th is a tentative opening for Hill Brothers store in Greenville. Glad to see that take place. And then we also had a young lady, Miss Tamika Lewis from USDA, that there's going to be workshops held throughout the county June the 28th, but affordable home ownership. There will be a home buyers workshop from 11 to 1 o'clock in the city of Greenville for a luncheon type setting. But if anybody's interested to see what kind of program this is, she did not have any handouts to give, and I apologize for that. But there will be notices posted around the county. My understanding, there will be multiple sites around the county. But if anybody's interested to see what kind of program USDA may have for affordable home ownership, I think that would be very interesting and noteworthy to have. With that being said, I'll pass it on down.
Okay. I have just about 3 items I'm going to mention from the meeting from ACCG last week over in McDonough. I attended the policy and update there, as well as the environmental meeting there in the afternoon. One of the things, and this of the many things we discussed, they asking us now as commissioners to work closely with our school boards. I think we have got a leg up in that respect because we have been doing that. There is another House bill that will be going before the House, the Congress there next spring. They're actually wanting to close the gap on commissioners from the time you're elected to the time you can take office. If they get their way, it will be the second Monday after the election a commissioner would be taking office, rather than waiting until the next January. And I don't know what precipitated all that. I heard a lot of wild things, but I have no idea what all that's concerning. But the biggie, and I want to give that to you last but not least, we had Mr. Jeff Cowan, who is now is the head of all the land protection branch with EPD. And he and I discussed scrap tires at length. We talked about collection, we talked about cost, and they did have a change in 2014. So there's probably some money available to help people like us when we do a roundup. And so anyway, I brought Mr. Jeff's number, and I'll give that to you, Mr. Theron, and we'll get together with him and see if he can help us with a little monetary incentive when we do our cleanups. And with that, that's about all I have. Commissioner Hines.
Thank you. A couple of things. Last week, Carolyn helped me with this. The tourism group had their meeting, and I was able to get Miss Beth Olson to come and speak to the tourism group. She is the executive director for the aquatourism for the state of Georgia. A very well presented presentation. She shared some enlightening things to us about our county, and I just want to briefly share this with you. It's called the total farm gate value. This is 2014. They're not as current. They're normally 2 years behind. But I thought this was interesting information. We rank 20th in the state when you talk about commodities. And one of the things that we are #1 in is the forestry products or forestry. So you know why. And I'm like you, Marietta County is such a beautiful county. This is what's attractive to us. And we want the people in the forestry to be here, but once again, it takes away from our landscape. So that, but we're #1 in the state on that. The other thing that I thought was pretty interesting, for goats, raising goats in the state, we rank 4th in the state. So we have a lot of goat farmers in Marietta County. As far as catfish ponds, we're the 6th in the state. So apparently somebody's raising catfish. They let us know I have good fish fry, but we've got a lot of catfish farms here. Nurseries, we're the 4th in the state. Peaches, we're 5th in the state. So it's interesting to know how we fall as far as our commodities. And it says over 2.5 million in economic contribution comes out of Marietta County from the state. We provide 65 jobs, which is not a lot considering the percentage that we're at. But I thought this was pretty good information. So when we talk about agriculture, definitely Marietta County meets those criteria. But when we talk about ag and tourism, this opens up another opportunity for us as well. So it was very, and if anyone would like to get a copy of this, I'll be glad to share it with you to see how we rank. And it's not too much that we don't grow in Marietta County or have to offer. So that's very attractive. The other thing I just want to comment on, well, 2 other things. I got a call last week about the Appleton area, and it's Mount Carmel Road and 362. And And so once again, the citizens there are very concerned because there's been so many accidents and there's been fatalities over in that area. So we want to contact DOT to come in and have a discussion with them. That's a very heavily traveled area, you know. So once again, I understand there was a bad accident over that way maybe 2 weeks ago, so we want to address that. And the other thing is I just want to piggyback on the meeting that I attended with Mr. Gay and Bill and Dr. Dixon and from the tax commissioner. That was a very informative meeting. I wish more people was there to understand what was said or discussed. But probably what I got the most out of it is at the end of the day, every department, whether it's elected official, have a certain role to play. And it's important to know that when you don't do your job, it makes it very difficult for other people to do their job. So the thing is, you know, tax commissioners have always been around. They're in the Bible. They've been around for a long time. They're not going to go anywhere. So we do need people to collect the money so that we can be good stewards about the money for the commissioner part and the school board. But at the end of the day, we've all got to work together. So it was good to see that meeting with the school board, with the board of commissioners, and the tax commissioner. So Mr. Gay, I don't know if you put that meeting together, but if you did, thank you. Whoever did, it was well needed, so that everybody could understand that when you don't do what you're supposed to do, it makes it very challenging for the other group. So thank you for putting that together.
Combination. They wanted it. Bill and I thought it was good. So it was kind of a team effort.
It was good.
Thank you, Commissioner Hines. Barrister Susan.
We do have some legal matters that we need to discuss in executive session, but other than that,
Okay. Well, what we'll do here shortly, for those of you that may not know, we're going to retire from here to executive session. But I want you to look down on the sheet. As far as your future meetings and notices, June the 28th, we will have a work session at 4 p.m. June 28th, we'll have the regular meeting for this month, the evening meeting. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session.
Mr. Public comments.
Oh, I'm sorry, I overlooked public comments. Y'all will have to excuse me. Y'all didn't have anything to say anyway, did you? Public comments.
I've got a quick one.
Okay, yes ma'am, come right up.
I'll wear my camp director Girl Scout hat now.
Yeah.
I just want to let you guys know, we do have the girls in session. We're going to have about 800 girls at the Girl Scout camp throughout the summer. And if you guys are ever interested, we have lunch every day at 12:30. Give me a call. You've got my contact information. And if y'all want to come down and have lunch with the girls, talk to them about their experiences, and just see what's going on at the camp, we'd love to have you.
Ms. Cap, is this a free meal?
It was pretty much, we're having sausage sandwiches today. If you want to.
Thank you for that.
Probably the one that just asked.
Mr. Chairman, just one other note on that
Okay,
work
sure.
session that's coming
Yes.
up, and your contact is good with about the tires, but I think that's what you guys asked the work session
Yes.
involved, so that'd be real good.
That will be
Make sure
good for
your
that. Yes, it will. Do I hear a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Shall we set the time at 10:56?
Yes, they never got anything. This man, I'm a bit of that. Matt Pacific Road, we'll send that to them. Tyrell was gathering that information. I would imagine it's going to be very similar to or so they all be able to do an estimate. But we'll try to get some pictures before by tomorrow and send it to me. You'll have that stuff. I appreciate it. Thank you, buddy. Good. Did Beverly give you an executive session? Okay, that's fantastic. Thank you. Hey, I just was going to tell you.
She just mentioned we come out there. I got to look at the road, but I don't know.